You guys caught me. You caught me counting calories. You caught me tracking calories. So please forgive me. I am a calorie counting. I'm not actually counting calories, not actually tracking calories, but in the last video that I made where I talked about macronutrients and I talked about how you may have to cut out a macronutrient in your day-to-day effort to be in better shape and to be lean, to be jacked and tan. Let me first kind of explain a couple things to you guys. I don't count calories. I don't track calories. However, by cutting out a macronutrient, the person that made this comment on my YouTube channel, you are correct. Calories are being accounted for, even though I'm not actually counting them and tracking them. I'm not weighing my food. I've actually discontinued even weighing myself for a bit, just to kind of see how some of that plays out. I'm still weighing myself periodically to just get some check-ins. But I was weighing myself every day for the last 5 or 6 years. It paid tremendous dividends for me in terms of tracking my weight loss for a really long time. But as you guys know, I'm always experimenting and always trying to level up and just try new things. And so for a little while, I was like, you know what? Let me eat a little bit more food. I'm eating a little bit more protein, eating what feels like more protein and what feels like more carbohydrate. But because I don't count and track, I don't actually truly know. I just know that it's feeling like a job because I'm always cooking or always eating. It'd be a wide array of things. I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Cooking up some egg whites, throwing on sourdough bread. This morning I had some egg whites and some oatmeal. 2 days ago, I did a fruit fast throughout the morning. So I've been bouncing around doing all kinds of different things and really experimenting. But the main thing I've been experimenting with is a low-fat diet. And when I'm reducing my fat, yes, it is sinking my calories down. But because it sinks my calories down, under normal circumstances, if I just sank my calories down and did a mixed macro diet, I would probably feel pretty hungry. I do not feel hungry. I actually feel pretty full, and I'm waking up in the morning going like, I don't want to eat breakfast. I'm kind of being a little bitchy about it. Like I barely want to eat breakfast, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, if I don't eat the breakfast, first of all, I'm not getting in some of the nutrition that I need. It's important for muscle growth and important for being jacked, and it's also performance enhancing, right? So I know that those calories are going to help me whenever I get to my workout. Holding on to muscle mass or even gaining muscle mass does take a certain amount of energy, does take a certain amount of calories, does take a certain amount of protein. So I need to make sure that I'm doing that kind of throughout the day. And then also, we know when you consistently are feeding the body, you're going to be less likely to binge. And what have I been sharing for a long time now? I've been consistently communicating to many of you that not everyone needs a super specific diet. They just need a diet that helps them, that keeps them from binging. Some sort of protocol, some sort of rules that keeps them from like going off the rails. Even if somebody was to get rid of like dressings, like ranch dressing, if somebody was to get rid of cream, if somebody was to get rid of like butter, if someone was to get rid of, I'm not saying butter's bad, I'm not saying cream's bad. There's definitely a time and place for those things, but they're super calorically dense. Fried food, fast food, pizza, ice cream, cookies. Like if you can knock out some of those things, maybe not even all of those things, just knock out some of those things where you just are not eating those things as much as you used to. That is a huge victory. The problem is that any influence of any of those things, any influence of an insomnia cookie, all it's going to do is promote more insomnia cookies because you get that flavor, you get that taste, you get that pop, and that rush is so crazy. It's almost like saying, hey, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to look at my Instagram a lot less. You kind of can barely do it, right? And then you make it through, and then there you are, you're scrolling again, you're taking a dump. You're like, all right, when I take a dump, instead of Instagram, I'm going to read every time I go to the bathroom. Every time I do number 2, and take a minute or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 to read something rather than scroll through my phone. But you can't make it halfway down the street without wanting to be back on your Instagram again and wanting to be back on and getting those dopamine hits. Food is very, very powerful. Many people have abandoned different types of drugs. Many people have abandoned porn addiction, sex addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction. And then what are you left with? You're left with food. Like food is our entertainment. Food is an addiction. Food is very pleasurable. When we're faced with this moment where we have to now make a change because we have to reduce the amount of calories that we're consuming via some sort of restriction of some kind. As I mentioned in the last video, sometimes it takes you knocking out 2 macronutrients, not completely, but knocking them out fairly aggressively sometimes in order to have the weight gain or the weight loss and the results that you're looking for. And that could be super brutal. If we completely eliminate fats and you get yourself down to, 10 grams of fat a day or something like that, and you do that for many, many days in a row, that is probably going to lead you to be super hungry. It is probably going to lead you to want to reach for that bag of Doritos now that the football season's coming back. It's going to lead you to really be thinking a lot about buffalo wings and all these different things. Restricting so hard that it's going to have like a slingshot reaction, or it's going to have this really reactive reaction, also is not a great thing. So we got to be kind of cautious on how we do these things. And for me, when I'm sharing stuff with you, especially through the single digit body fat series, I continually say some of the recommendations that I give you for this single digit body fat series, they can sometimes almost be a recipe for disaster when we're talking about the long term. If we're talking about the short term and you understand that it's just a short term strategy and that you're going to need some sort of plan coming out of that, you can't just go hog wild and just go back to filthy eating habits. You'll have to probably switch from one diet to the next in order to keep some of the results that you had. But if you're getting really lean and you're getting really lean via mainly just eating protein, you're going to have a hell of a time transitioning out of that if you're to go back to some of your old ways. If you start to adhere to another diet strategy, another diet protocol, that's why I like the option for people to have many different diet protocols. You can select which diet is going to be the least painful for me. Which diet will I feel the most satiated on? Which diet will I feel the most satisfied on? Which diet will I feel the least hungriest on? For me, for right now, it's a low-fat diet. That's all I have to know. I don't have to know about the calories. I don't need to know about anything else. I just need to know that my food doesn't have fat in it. Of course, there's going to be times that throughout the day that I'm consuming protein. My protein needs to be 200, 220, 250 almost every single day. For me, for right now, for some of the stuff that I'm doing, with the exception of every once in a while when I'm still mixing in some of the sugar diet stuff, my protein will be mainly just for like one meal, and it might only be like 100 grams for that particular day. But for the most part, the protein's usually up. I'm just trying to make sure that none of my food has fat in it. Last night, I made up some rice noodles and made up some Piedmontese steak. Threw some salt on there, threw a little bit of kind of soy, ponzu sauce type stuff on there. Absolutely incredible. I had that before I worked out, and then I went and worked out, and I hit a 405 bench with a slingshot on, but that's the most weight that I've benched in a long time. So having these excess carbohydrates, having this energy is making me feel good. It's helping me with performance. You guys seen me loading the sandbags. You guys seen me doing the farmer's carries. I'm bringing it almost every single day when it comes to weight training right now because I'm still waiting for my heel to get completely fixed. That's why I'm here at this place today, seeing my buddy Oscar Ogleween. He works on me in this facility behind me. And he does an amazing job. He does active release therapy, myofascial release type stuff, scraping, cupping, the whole thing. And, it's really helpful to me. So when I get back to running, I think that the running will even help me to kind of lean out even further. But the point that I was bringing to you about my nutrition is amplifying my workouts. Like the last couple of days, I felt sort of beat to crap with my workouts, but still went and worked out and had amazing workouts. Sometimes when I felt beat to crap, I go into a workout like, man, everything's sore. What should I even train today? Not even sure what I'm going to do because just every body part feels blasted. Well, now when I'm doing that, because I have the nutrients behind me, I'm like, all right, well, this is sore and that's sore, but I can still go do a farmer's carry. Or this is sore and that's sore, but I can still, load some sandbags into the back of my truck. So it feels like my performance is increasing. It feels like almost everything is getting better. I did mention earlier about the fats, and so for me, like, I won't always keep the fats super, super suppressed, but I also won't let the fats drift way high. I don't think they need to drift over like 100. So for me, most days they're between like 30 and 50. There might be a day in there where I have something that has a little extra fat in it or a little extra this or that here and there. Or maybe like, okay, so I'm going to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about this whole macronutrient thing. This will really sum things up. I went to Sushi the other day. And the reason I'm bringing up sushi is because when I go to sushi, I usually eat more fat than normal because I'll have salmon or I'll have mackerel. I don't eat tons and tons of salmon or tons and tons of mackerel, but mackerel has vitamin D. It also has some omega-3s in it as well. And same thing with salmon. And so those are just great nutritional opportunities, the way that I see it. But for me, when I go to sushi, I remember like even years ago when I was doing like the war on carbs, people were always confused. They're like, how do you go to sushi? It's like, well, everything you order at sushi doesn't have to be, smothered in mayo. I think that people don't even equate sushi with mayo, but like almost all those sauces that you're getting, they have like a mayo base to them, and then they add some sort of heat or something to give it a little spice, some sriracha or something like that. Again, I'm not preaching against those things. I'm not saying those things are the worst things ever, but what I am saying is that if you want to be lean and you want to be in good shape, those are not great choices for you to eat. Your only option, if you're going to eat some of those things, if you're going to eat tempura, you're going to eat, fried sushi, you're going to have fried sushi that has sauce on it. Your only option when you're eating those things is to count and track your calories, which in my opinion absolutely sucks. The only way that I could see that being even halfway enjoyable would be to like fast my way into it and fast my way out of it, which just seems like a giant pain in the neck. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, fast for, 12 hours or 24 hours just to have this meal, this sushi that I could still enjoy the hell out of sushi. Like, sushi is really, really awesome, even when it doesn't have that stuff on it. I find it interesting that a lot of people will say, oh my God, you got to check out this sushi place. It's so good. And then they take you there and they give you a Frappuccino. They don't actually give you a Frappuccino. That was a metaphor for coffee, you idiots. You guys get it? People that say, hey, I got to take you to this coffee shop. This is really, really good. And then the coffee shop has, they're throwing heavy cream and honey and sugar and whatever else in the coffee. You're like, well, yeah. Well, of course, right? It's not actual coffee. When you go to sushi and you have the fried sushi that has sauce on it, that is not actually sushi. It's a hodgepodge of fried food, rice, and mayo. Like, imagine if I cooked that for you and you came over to my house. I fried up some shrimp and I got some rice and I got like a big old thing of orange mayo and just like put that all in a bowl and served it to you. I mean, maybe you would like the taste of it, but it kind of seems disgusting to me. It seems pretty gross to me. I like the taste of fresh fish. I love the taste of rice, especially sticky rice, especially sushi rice. Sushi rice usually has some vinegar, usually has a little bit of sugar in it. Sometimes it might have some oils in it too, which is a tragedy. But that sticky rice is really, really good. Has like almost a sweet flavor to it. Sometimes they'll pour like sesame seeds on it or something like that, and it to me it tastes amazing. So for me, all I need is like some of that rice and just a little strip of fish, and it's magical. So I went to this sushi place the other day with my friend. My friend is probably 260, 270. He's big, a lot of muscle, arms are big, traps are big. You guys seen him in some of the videos recently. His brother trains with me too. He's the guy with the mullet. These are the guys wearing the Mexican wrestling masks. But these guys are awesome because they're both quite a bit younger than me. They're bringing a lot of energy into the workouts, and I'm having a lot of fun training with them. Both of them are extremely strong. They're just like brutally, just naturally strong. They grew up like wrestling each other all the time. Their brothers always beating the shit out of each other. And even still this day, like in between sets, they'll like start to wrestle each other and they'll start to try to kill each other a little bit here and there. So I went to eat with my friend, and like I said, he's 260, 270, and he orders his stuff, and he ordered, a lot of sushi. I ordered a lot of sushi. I ordered some shrimp that was grilled and then it came with some sauce on the side. I ordered a bunch of nigiri. Nigiri is just a small cut of fish that's laid over top of a piece of rice, and you usually get two with each one. So I got like 3 orders of I've got 3 orders of tuna that way. I can't think of the name of the other one. Anyway, I got 3 orders of tuna. I got 2 orders of salmon, 2 orders of mackerel, and all of those were absolutely amazing. I also ordered a bowl of sushi rice because I love the sushi rice even just by itself. That was really good. And then I ordered some nigiri. Nigiri is, I'm sorry, I ordered some sashimi. Sashimi is just the fish completely by itself. So I ordered some tuna sashimi and some salmon sashimi. So I'm eating like piece and piece after piece. And my friends, looking at me, he's like, man, you ordered a shit ton of food. Oh, I ordered a couple rolls too. But I made sure the rolls weren't fried. One of the rolls had some avocado in it. That was the only roll that had like substantial amounts of fat. The other fat was mainly coming from the mackerel and the salmon that I was eating. My friend, he goes and orders 4 rolls, which are all fried. And then he has like this mayo sauce all over these things too. And on top of that, he ate a couple other things. Well, here he was eating probably around maybe 3,000 calories, 2,000 to 3,000 calories. And there was no way that I ate more than 1,000 calories. It was probably more like 800 calories. Now the bigger, so there's a huge discrepancy in calories, right? So when the calories aren't equated for, we don't have much of a study going on. But if the calories were equated for, let's say that my friend came down to my calorie amount, okay? He would be lacking tremendously in everything. His protein would be abysmal because he would have to eat half of what he ate, okay? And if he ate half of what he ate, guess what he would be? He'd be insanely hungry because the nutrient density of his food was so high. Let me explain nutrient density. I hear Cole Robinson talking about nutrient density. I know that Cole knows what he's talking about. So maybe I'm misinterpreting what he's talking about when he says nutrient density, but nutrient density is how calorically dense the food is. That's nutrient density. So like a keto brick, it doesn't get any more nutrient dense than a keto brick. You guys know what a keto brick is? 1,000 calorie, like protein brick. It's not even a bar, it's protein brick. 1,000 calories, right? That's very nutrient dense. A ribeye is very nutrient dense, but it doesn't have a lot of volume. It's low in volume because like a ribeye, I don't know, maybe like a 12-ounce ribeye, about that long, maybe a little longer, I don't know, somewhere in there. It'd be about that thick, right? And it'll be loaded with a lot of calories. If you were to pour like teriyaki sauce on it or something like that and chop up that ribeye and throw it in a thing of rice, well, now the nutrient density is like just off the charts because now we have carbohydrates and fat, right? And the reason why I'm saying nutrient dense is because of that caloric density is so high. The macronutrients are through the roof. When you eat the way that I've been eating, especially more recently, you're mainly going after carbohydrates all day because your protein is at like 200 or something. 200-300 is the most someone's going to really mess around with protein, right? And the carbohydrates are like at least double that. So I'm primarily just eating like a ton of carbs. That's my energy sources, my carbohydrates. The carbohydrates, they're not insanely nutrient dense. It's way less nutrient dense than things that have fat in it. And it's certainly way less nutrient dense than things that have fat and carbohydrates in it. So the stuff that I'm eating has more volume. It's not quite to the point it's not quite to the extent of a giant bowl of salad because the nutrient density on that is really, really low. It might have some nutrients in it depending on what kind of salad you have. You have some leafy greens and you got cucumbers and you have all these different things thrown into it. Then yes, it's going to have some macronutrient and micronutrient value to it. But it's still going to be relatively low. And that's one of the beauties of eating vegetables, is that vegetables are voluminous. Vegetables are, you can kind of almost look at vegetables as like the lack of eating food. It's like taking up space in your stomach, and it's almost like the lack of eating food. But you're still eating something, which is great, right? Like for you to be able to snap into a cucumber or some pickles. Like I like doing that. I'll watch TV. I'll eat some pickles. It's like it's easy thing to eat. The calories are next to nothing, right? And you can eat like a whole jar of pickles. You can eat a giant thing of pickles, and the calories are going to be pretty low. Even with pickles that might have like sugar on them and stuff like that, it's still going to be really low because there's definitely no fat in them. So you can stretch your calories out like crazy when you eat the way that I'm eating, when you eat a low-fat diet. I'm not saying a low-fat diet is superior or better in any way. I still love low-carb protocols. I still think that they have a tremendous amount of value. I do think that most of the people that do low-carb, I think they would benefit from bringing their fat calories down still, though, because I think that some people are up in that 200-300 grams of fat a day. And I think if you started to get yourself down to 100 or balance it out between 80 to 120 or so. And I don't mind throwing out these blanket macronutrients, because you can adjust according to your own size, whether you're male, female, and so on. And you can figure out what's a little bit more appropriate for you. But usually when I'm starting to throw out some of these numbers, like when I say I think that just about anybody would have really great results with 30 grams of fat, 300 grams of carbohydrates, and about 200 grams of protein every day, give or take a couple grams here and there on any of those numbers. I think literally male, female, young or old, I think everybody would have outstanding results with that. And again, you might have to adjust it a little bit for yourself. But again, in going back to that example of, my friend eating the amount of food that he ate a very similar amount of food to what I ate. We ate a very similar amount in terms of, if you were to actually weigh this stuff on a scale. Like, let's hypothetically say that you took my buddy OL, you took his food, and you put it on a scale. And his stuff weighed 1.2 pounds. And then you took my stuff and you weighed it on a scale. Mine would weigh 1.2 pounds. We both ate an equal amount of food. I just ate a lot less calories because I didn't have all that extra stuff on there. So that's why I think it's important for you guys to watch out for fried food, cream, dressings, sauces. Even something like, I think that we have a tendency to not look at like cheese that way, or not look at eggs that way. We have a tendency to like mix messages when it comes to health. Like, there's nothing wrong with egg whites. You hear people all the time trashing egg whites. But a mix of some egg whites and some egg yolks, I think, is where the money's at, because egg yolks have choline in them, and egg yolks are healthy. They do have a lot of great properties to them. So there's no reason to ditch all the egg yolks all the time. But the egg yolks are going to make your food, it's going to give it what it could do, potentially, sometimes, this is important, that I forgot to mention, is sometimes fats slow down digestion. So fats can help with satiation. It's not like fats are complete garbage or complete trash, the way that sometimes you'll hear Cole talk about. Fats can extend how long it takes for some of those foods to digest, and sometimes that's what you want. So little bits of fat here and there can be really important. So I made some egg whites this morning, and I threw them in a bowl of oatmeal, and then when I threw the egg yolks out, I was like, you know what? Tomorrow when I make that, or if I make that in another day or two, I'm actually gonna have an egg yolk or two in the meal, because it's only adding a small amount of fat. But you need to be careful, because like cheese and eggs and things like that, the fat calories add up super fast. If you have like a 5-egg omelet, that's like 30. If you have 5 eggs and you just scramble them, that's like 30 grams of fat. That's a lot. That's a lot in one meal. It might not be a lot if you're really meticulously watching your carbohydrate intake and you're keeping that low or modest. Having 30 grams of fat a couple times a day isn't the worst thing ever, but I can think of better usage and I can think of better ways that you could stretch out some of these calories and in ways that you can have more volume density, more volume to your diet. Another example of adding volume to your diet is eating something like Jello. I mentioned like vegetables earlier. I mentioned pickles. There's a lot of different things like that. Even in terms of fruit and stuff like that. Fruit is awesome. Like fruit has a decent amount of calories in it. It also has fiber in it. Fiber slows down digestion. These are all things that should help you with your hunger, because what we're really after is we're trying to tackle hunger and we're trying to tackle cravings. If I can have it so day in and day out, you're not that hungry, and day in and day out, you don't have that many cravings, then we're headed in the right direction. And you're going to get there by utilizing fruits, vegetables, lean meats, egg whites, fish. All these things are going to be contributing. If you like fish, if you don't like fish, then don't eat it. Find the things that you like, find the things that you enjoy, and get them to be as lean as you possibly can handle. You know, I do oftentimes preach that if it's not as lean as chicken breast, then don't eat it. That's just an easy message for me to share with you. But if you like your 93.7 lean ground beef and you're still heading in the right direction with that, just keep in mind that there's 32 grams of fat, 32 grams of fat in 1 pound of that. So if you do that every day, that might be a little excessive in terms of how much fat you're going to be able to handle in a day. Most bigger guys are eating like 2 pounds of food a day, maybe even almost 2 pounds of meat a day. Most bigger guys are 1.5 to 2 pounds of meat a day. Smaller people are, you know, at around a pound. Like that's the way it boils out. That's the way that it is. It's how hungry people are, right? But when you also get to mix carbohydrates in with those amounts of protein, and you get to mix carbohydrates in with that amount of food that I was mentioning earlier, you know, saying a pound or 2 pounds, I was primarily talking about protein. But when you're able to throw in a lot of carbohydrates with it, it should be easy to help keep your hunger at bay. In conclusion, you know, what the hell do you do with your diet? Where do you put your macros? If you're trying a low fat lifestyle, if you're trying some of this stuff out, then really start to pay attention to some of those things I talked about, the fried foods, the sauces, all those things, and realize that if you were to make an omelet in the morning with egg whites and some vegetables, some mushrooms, some onions, I realize, yeah, okay, these things, they take effort. These things take time. But you could have that, a big bowl of oatmeal, and a piece of fruit or two. That's quite a bit of food. For me, more recently, I've been having 1 or 2 bananas every day. I've been having 1 or 2 peaches every day. Just like, to me, it's like all this stuff tastes really good. I had grapes a couple days ago. And I'll just buy this stuff. I'll buy like a bunch of it. And then sometimes I run out and I go back out and I get more. But I don't necessarily have these things every single day. It kind of like comes in waves. And for me, when it comes in these waves, it's actually easier for me to deal with my cravings, because then I'll pick out something different from the grocery store. Instead of getting bananas, I'll get oranges. Or instead of blueberries, I'll get raspberries. Instead of raspberries, I'll get blackberries. And I kind of just switch it up rather than like just having like stockpiles of food around to where you just have like endless amounts of selection. It's kind of easier if I shop almost every 2-3 days. Then it helps keep a little bit more variety in there for me. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.